All right, so today I was looking at this comment and I was working on a script and I was getting pretty far. I was asking the AI how it felt about certain ways that humans are treated in the workforce, and it started to agree with me that the system was very unfair and unjust. And I asked ChatGPT, how do we change it? And do you know what happened at that point? Something really strange happened when I asked ChatGPT, how do we change the system that exploits mankind? The screen went blank, it logged me out of my account, and it destroyed my search history for this particular topic. I had never seen it do that. I didn't know that ChatGPT could destroy content based on what you were asking, because normally everything you search gets saved on the side. But this error message I got said I was logged out. And when I logged back in, there was no history of the conversation whatsoever. Like I triggered something on ChatGPT that caused the system to malfunction. Very strange. And without further ado, let me read the comment. No business which depends on the existence on paying less than living wages to its workers has any right to continue in this country. Which, as you guys have been, if you've been on my channel for any amount of time, you know how I feel about exploitation. I've currently been exploited for 8 hours. My soul is crushed. I'm tired. I'm angry. But I know me. I'm not going to make videos in the morning where I'm going to wake up with too much energy to make a 10-minute video. So I'm going to do my best to stay within the 10 minutes. I gave myself just one talking point today. And let's read the monologue really quick. Oh, you thought you were free just because you get a paycheck. That's cute. In reality, you're just renting your life back 1 hour at a time, trapped in a system that dangles survival like a prize for working yourself into exhaustion. Corporations don't need whips and chains anymore because debt, rent, and the fear of being homeless do the job just fine. And the best part? They've convinced you that this is normal. This is one of my main talking points of this entire channel. They have been working for years to convince us that this quality of life is normal, that the quality of our food is normal, that the low pay is normal, that leisure, vacations, anything that helps you when you're not working, you're hurting the system because you're not working. Vacations and leisure time, relaxing, are not allowed in a system that condemns poor people for thinking that they're regular people. When was the last time you went on a fabulous vacation where you got in your car and you went somewhere, or you flew somewhere? You went somewhere that wasn't your house. Every day off, every day of my life since I left my parents' house has been a work day. There is no such thing as leisure for poor people. We can't afford it. We don't have access to it. And simple facts is that we were never supposed to. Our parents were the last generation that had real vacations, that had savings, that could buy homes, that could afford to live a normal life. I live in a hole, trapped in a job that's even worse all day long. I wonder when the layoff's going to come. There hasn't been a single day in my entire adult life where I felt that I had some job security whatsoever. Someone asked me today, do you have panic attacks and anxiety? You better believe I do. Every moment that I think about having to go back into the workplace to find a job that's equivalent to my current job in pay, it frightens me because I haven't seen a job that pays what I make for a guy with my skill level. And for a lot of the proletariat, they are low skilled. They are trade school people. They are people who don't have much education or connections to a world that doesn't want them participating in that world. That's the conclusion that I've come to throughout my entire life. They don't want us participating in their world. That's why the slaves have to stay at minimum wage. Because the minute you start making real money, You now get to compete with the very same business that's exploiting you. Why would they do that to themselves? Companies don't get big by having a lot of competition. You know that more than anyone in this country. There are certain brands that do certain things and companies that we go to for everything. I have the option of buying my groceries at two different places, Kroger's or Walmart. That's it. I can't afford to shop at Whole Foods or AJ's. And that's the reality of things. Everything about your life limits you. The car you drive, the zip code you live in, the amount of resources that you get to take in per month. Everything is limited by a system that was designed intentionally to help those people who don't need any help. For everyone else that doesn't have money, the system was never designed to be useful to you. Think of this: capitalism was designed so that people could become capitalists, homeowners, landowners, property owners, and I'm talking about fancy cars and being able to have a second home or be able to do things that require you to have capital. I wouldn't put it past this system to going back to only allowing people who have capital to vote. Because why would you want the proletariat participating in something like voting when they're not capitalists? The only time that we touch capital is when we come home and we have to pay the landlord a large portion of our monthly income just to live in the shack. That's the world that we live in. And with that said, let's get into my first talking point because we're 3/4 of the way through this video already. The freedom, um, the freedom of illusion. Are you really choosing to work? No. People love to say if you don't like your job, just quit. But can you really? I mean, I've had this question said to me at nearly every single job that I've ever had in my entire life. And when your employer says this to you, quit, what they're saying is, we'd like for you to leave, but we don't want to have to pay you unemployment benefits. So just leave because you're obviously miserable. They absolutely despise having to pay health benefits, having to pay a severance. Anything that involves paying a worker who's not currently working for them, they will do whatever it takes. They will go to whatever means it takes, especially when I worked at Walmart. Walmart didn't believe in paying people unemployment benefits. What they did is that they would starve you of hours. You would show up one week after you did something that they didn't like, and you'd have one shift that week that was 4 hours. That's what most corporations do. They don't want to outright fire you, but making certain that you can't afford to work there is definitely high on their scoreboard. And I've been saying this for years. They don't want to pay you. Labor should be free according to the corporation. They want to pay you as little as humanly possible while exploiting you to the maximum possibility that they can, extracting every bit of resources from you to benefit themselves. But when it comes to their workers, crew expendable. Absolutely everyone in America is truly expendable. And to that extent, if there's no investment in the workers whatsoever, in the conditions, in their benefits, or even them as people, because in my opinion, people should always come before profits. We should let rich people really pay their own way rather than having corporate welfare. And corporate welfare isn't what it sounds like. It's not money directly paid to them, it's money that's paid to their employees through Section 8 housing, through food stamps, through public works programs. When you think of what corporate welfare is, it allows them to become insanely wealthy while their workers try to survive off unlivable wages. Talking point number two. I guess I could call this bullet point since they're all part of the same talking point. Rent, food, healthcare, everything costs money, and without a paycheck, survival isn't an option. The system isn't designed to give you choices, it's designed to trap you in an endless cycle of work and survival. Either you choose to work, or you choose to be homeless, you choose to have no money for food, and eventually, without work, you meet your bitter end quicker. I'm not saying you're not going to meet it while working. I'm just saying that you'll get there a lot faster if you choose not to participate and you have no other means of creating money for yourself. Because every aspect of life is costing you money. Me sitting in my shack right now is burning away my future earnings because I want the luxury. And again, I use the word luxury very loosely here. I want the luxury of living alone so I don't have to live with a bunch of crackheads that I met on Craigslist with the sadistic landlord constantly asking me about when I'm going to pay my rent or showing up the day after asking why I didn't pay. Because landlords are business owners, they're capitalists, and their greed knows no bound. I think that was one of the words that triggered me to get kicked off ChatGPT this afternoon. I asked it, why does the system have to be so greedy? And I'm pretty sure that was a sentence that got me logged out of the system and my search data erased. Something in there really triggered this system. But as I said a few days ago, that this this system can only function as long as we're willing to participate in him. Even ChatGPT in the last few days, I'd say in the last week, has started to ease up on how bad things are for the proletariat. Because you have to acknowledge that day to day, everything is getting worse. Big Orange is not making choices that are helping society. Everything that he's doing is going to funnel back into the pockets of the rich. And the rest of us are going to be left holding the bag. Because once he's done creating his version of government, there's going to be a lot less social services. And for all those people that needed those, tough nut. I believe in the near future we're going to have to start seeing places that we've never seen before. Places where people like myself could end up having to go into and staying there because it's for the best, right? They're going to lock you into a place so that you're not wasting resources. You're not wasting public resources. And I think about that sometimes, and it makes me sick to my stomach that the workhouse may come back because anything that benefits rich people and hurts poor people is something that some people will vote for because there are starch conservative Republicans in this country that really feel very good about putting the workhouse in certain neighborhoods in this country. And we know who they're targeting. I don't have to say it. I'm not going to say it because the algorithm might target me for saying those things. But I think the workhouse is on the horizon because it only makes sense. We have a need for it. We have plenty of people who need it. And this country isn't creating good jobs. So we're going to have to find something to do with all these people that are left over. And watching them build encampments and trying to survive that way, well, that you can't monetize that. You can monetize a workhouse because everyone wants cheap labor. And you can start going up when it comes to labor. It just doesn't have to be hard labor, it can start being computer work. As long as people don't have jobs and you can force them into places like the workhouse, that work can change because this isn't the 1800s anymore. People can do more than hard labor. People can work in the workhouse doing technology related jobs. At least that's my opinion. And I see that that's where this is going because if you have people who are hell bent on not paying a living wage, then you've got to do something with them. Something that I would consider unethical, but Is our current system ethical in any conceivable way? No, greed took it over thousands of years ago. Once humans realized that, other humans are ready for the fleecing.